And it's inflammatory. You get gout from eating high acid and clogging up, capillaries and veins, and that's where gout comes from.
Thank you. So, no, on the topic of deficiencies and supplementation, what is your thought on D, which has always been quite controversial?
On Dave,
Vitamin D. Well, the
the
hormone.
vitamin D. Well, I don't know if it's controversial. I mean, if you talked to me 10 years ago, I would have given you the wrong answer. I would have said, this is hype, because I never saw anything in nutritional science that overnight it went from not being known to overnight being the superstar. So I'm always suspicious. I grew up in New York, so I'm suspicious about everything. And so I said, they've got to be embellishing this. They're not. So now I spend a lot of time, thank God, Anna, my wife, speaks 7 languages. So we don't only depend upon Americana, what we call checkbook science, paid for science. So we look at global science, and there's not significant evidence, but overwhelming evidence of the importance of vitamin D, which is not a vitamin. So let's start where I and everyone else was wrong. It is actually not a vitamin, it's a molecule. And it's incredibly important, by the way, for the functionality of your cells and your immune function. We didn't even understand, probably we understood at best 5% of what it was. I would probably say we're 40 to 50% of what we know now, but our brains don't function without it. Our immune systems don't function without it. Our nervous system doesn't function without it. Matter of fact, I still kept it in my drawer during the height of the pandemic. Basically, there was a study that was sent to me from a European colleague of mine, MD research physician, that actually showed me they took 84 people with very high levels of vitamin D that had full blast 19 virus and had no symptomology. They didn't even know they had it. If they didn't go get tested, they wouldn't know they had high titers of it. I mean, not average amounts. They had what would put anyone else laying in a bed and maybe be on a respirator. But they had exceptionally high vitamin D, which is a rarity, by the way. They probably looked at thousands of people to get 84 or 85 of them that didn't have low vitamin D. I mean, people here in Florida, so you know the number, over 65% of Floridians have low vitamin D. We're in the Sunshine State. What about Alaska? What about New York? What about, even California has a higher incidence of vitamin D deficiency. So why? Because we're inside of the house. We're not outside like our agrarian ancestors and nomadic ancestors. They were getting vitamin D. So just again, we're having debates, intellectual tea parties on vitamin D. It was part of the human evolutionary process. We always got vitamin D. We didn't have to take a pill. We were out there. You were never anywhere else but out there. And so your body was being saturated. You didn't have chemical clothing. You had, wool. You had organic clothes. You had silk. That's what you had. So even if you were outside with clothing on, you basically permeated and fed your body this molecule, this extraordinary molecule. So I don't know anyone that debates on it. And food-based forms, we create one that's out of a vine. We're the only ones we know in the world. It's a living vine that we created out of. By the way, you can take bottles of this. It's not going to hurt you. So when they're looking at the research, research, evidence-based medicine, all this nonsense, I don't buy into anymore. I just interviewed a doctor who taught at Harvard for 25 years the other day. He said, evidence-based medicine is an evidence to sell you something. He said, that's what it is. So you don't realize there's no such thing as evidence-based medicine anymore. And so what you have to know is that they're looking at chemical supplementation. And I wrote a book on that called Supplements Exposed. Most of you are being conned. You're taking things that are bad for you. 91% of supplements on the market are dangerous for you to take. Now, I'm a big advocate of supplements. I take a lot of supplements, but they're all food-based, organic, and plant, not cooked.
And how do we know if we're getting a good supplement or a dangerous supplement?
Well, dangerous is if it doesn't have its organic, it doesn't have its food-based, doesn't have its clean, and doesn't have its unprocessed on it, it's a dangerous supplement. You can buy plant-based supplements that are cooked, they're worthless. They have so little benefit, you might as well, eat parsley. It's a much better deal for you. And so, yeah, that's simple. But, 91% are names, vitamin D, vitamin E. What do they make them out of? Petrochemicals. Let's go through the list. Vitamin B is mostly made out of coal tar. When you drive your car down a highway, you're driving on coal tar. That's what almost all vitamin B is made out of. Turpentine is what they make most vitamin E out of. Now, is Brian making this up? No. You guys have to, before you have an opinion, research. I've been doing research ever since 1970. I don't stop doing research. And I'm going to tell you, what I tell you is a fact, not an opinion. And so it is endless. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. There's 7 other components. And 97% of the vitamin C on the market, plus what they're IVing into your body, is not vitamin C. It's a highly acid made out of genetically modified corn. You think you're going to benefit from that? You might as well whistle Dixie. Forget this stuff. Now, am I a big fan? We do IVs of cassava here, of vitamin C. It helps to change people's lives, improve lives. But you've got to get the right thing. Not, do I believe in vitamin C? Do I believe in vitamin D? I believe in the right of everything, not the wrong of everything, but the right of everything.
Great. Thank you. So we've got about 5 minutes left. So radiation exposure is obviously a concern in our modern life. You know, we've got cell phones, we've got flying, we have X-rays. What are steps that we can do? I mean, do we need to subject ourselves to X-rays? Obviously, if you have something broken, perhaps, but you know, a lot of times you get X-rays when you go to the dentist.